We are looking at two portraits from different time periods. The portrait of a man, which is attributed to Raphael, is shown on the left. Head of a Moor by Peter Paul Rubens, shown on the right. Portraits are a work of art that depict a person, usually showing their face. Both portraits use value to create a realistic rendering of a person's face. Artists use value to show areas of light and dark. The work is a simple portrait of a man with long brown hair wearing a cap and a black robe. Can you see the dark areas? Shadows? Can you find the light areas? This artwork uses a very smooth transition from varying areas of value, from light to dark. Head of a Moor is a study or a sketch painted by Peter Paul Rubens. Rubens used value to create highlights and shadows on the face of the figure. This painting was done on a flat surface, but it's easy to see the three-dimensional shape of the man's face because of the different values. The light is shining from above. You can see the lighter areas on the face. Look at the forehead where there is a highlight. The shadows are casted by forms of the face and can be seen under many of the facial features. Where else is there a shadow? There is a shadow behind the head. Did you notice that the side of the face that is farthest from the light is in shadow? You can use a flashlight in a darkened room to play with creating shadows on your face. Hello everybody, this is Carrie, Museum Educator from the Hyde Collection. This week's project for Artful Afternoons is a portrait drawing. The materials you will need is a piece of paper, a pencil. I'm using a number 2 pencil, but if you have drawing pencils, that's great. I also have a tortillon, which is a tightly bound piece of paper that is shaped to a tip that you can use for blending. If you do not have one of those, you can just take a piece of paper, fold it a couple of times, and then you have a great nice surface to use and a pointy tip to use to blend. You're also going to need a photographic reference. I have a photograph here on my laptop, but if you would like to use a photograph from a magazine, you can do that. You can print out a photo, or if you have somebody who wouldn't mind sitting nice and still for you, you can draw a live subject. You just need them to sit in front of you well lit so you can see all their beautiful features and you can draw them. So let's get started. So I drew out some of the simple features that I could place. So I could add some values and shadows later. So I added some eyes, nose, mouth, the shape of the face, and a little bit of the hair in just big, large shapes and very simple lines, not even complete lines, and very light. If you use a computer-generated photograph, you could always change it into black and white to see shadows and highlights a little bit easier without the color. Now that my photo is in black and white, I definitely can see where some of the shadows are. So using my pencil, and I'm actually going to hold it about in the middle here, I'm going to start adding some of those shadows. I see a shadow on the inside right here. So I'm going to kind of try to copy that shape a little bit. I know on this side of the nose there's a little bit of a shadow, so I'm just going to go around that. On this nostril there's a little bit of a shadow that goes into this laugh line. Okay. Underneath her eye there's a little bit of a shadow. And if you guys would see me right now, you would see all the shadows underneath my eyes. I'm going to add some shadows onto the cheeks, around the chin, anywhere where I see a little bit, and I'm using a really light touch as I'm doing this. Now, if you notice, the lips do have some color to it that is darker than the rest of the face. So I'm just going to add a little bit here and there, but not a whole lot. Within the eye there is some shadowing where the lashes are, where the lid goes up underneath the eyebrows. Okay. I am going to draw in the eye a little bit more. The eye, you only see part of the iris and the pupil. The pupil is going to be round, but you can leave part of it white, the little white dot that kind of shows that it's reflective. So what I do is that I just leave a little bit white so I can see more. Now Cassie's eyes here is darker on the outside, and I'm going to do a really light touch all the way through. Okay. I also know that underneath her nose there's some light touching. Okay, so I'm just adding some things that are really stand out to me. Then I'm going to take my tortillon and blend this into the paper and spread it out. It smooths out the shadow so it doesn't have such hard lines. Like our Rubens, you could definitely see each brush stroke, each line. But our portrait of a young man from the High Renaissance, they definitely smoothed out and blended a lot of the values, so it was a smoother transition. So we can use a mixture of that two types of technique. Blend in. I would like to show you as well with the piece of paper that's folded. You can fold together and really kind of blend it.
Here I'm just adding in some more of the details and the darkest areas, the nostrils, the mouth, behind the neck, around the eyes, and using a harder pressure when I want to create the darkest part of the shadows.
Okay, so I'm going to add some shadowing into Cassie's hair, and again I'm going to use the side of my pencil and really kind of just layer some lines where I know it's really dark, and create some shapes in this manner too. I'm also going with the direction of the hair. Your hair is going to look darker at its roots. There's usually some shine that comes through wherever the light is, so I'm going to keep that in mind and lay some darker parts in there. But really kind of trying to keep with that fluid motion that the hair is creating in itself. And again, I'm going to use my tortillon and blend parts of the hair in. She's got dark hair, so a lot of it's going to be blended. If you want to try to keep your hand off your drawing, you can place a piece of paper so you're not smudging things. And I'm just doing some real rough blending together. I'll show you a little trick with the hair once I get this blended kind of together. So you can take your eraser. I barely have an eraser on the end of my pencil here, but we're going to try it out anyway. And you can pull some lighted parts out. This is great. That side hasn't been shaded yet. So if I know there's a nice highlight through this part of the hair, there's some parts sticking out. Works much better when you actually have an eraser.
This is my finished drawing after I worked on it for a little while. Can't wait to see what you guys have made.
Share your work on Facebook or Instagram. #HideCollection.